Hello everybody, welcome back to Throttle Grotto. Today we're going to do something a little bit different here on the channel. We're going to go through the whole stack of receipts that I have from one of the previous owners of the car. And these receipts are from about 99 till about 2005. The car was parked in, I think, 2008. So it didn't see much time after that. How much did it cost to maintain an E30 in the late 90s and early 2000s? You might be surprised. Let's dive in. Okay, so I'm going to keep track of the numbers here on my calculator here on my phone, and I've put sticky notes over all of the people's names that owned the car or paid for repairs in all of the service records here. So unfortunately, I don't have anything prior to 17 March 1999, but everything in here is notated by a mileage on each one of these pieces of paper. There's actually a mileage written down, like you can see here. This one's 279,000. So the cluster's in kilometers, but hey, we've got a timeline of all the things that were done. So first thing here was the timing belt. So new timing belt, cam belt, pulley, and that was $222.85. Can you imagine only paying $222 for the timing belt? That's ridiculous. Now, I don't know what this means. It says less adjustment. Maybe he got a discount on that. But $222.85 is the first bill. After that, we have adjust valves and replace valve cover gasket, $91.16. Shift knob, emblem, hood shock, and a safety clip for $48.58. Brackets, grommets, part numbers, nuts, etc., $53.48. Looks like a relay, $71.83 for $77.40. Looks like they bought a coil. Funny thing is the coil that was in the car when I got it had cracked and all the coil juice was sleeping out. So $70.03. So that looks like that was mostly 1999. We're only at $563.50 right now. Let's see here. Rubber mount. I'm not going to Google all these part numbers and figure out what they were, but so that's $70.58. Let's see here. This receipt goes to this transaction. So this looks like water pump, coolant level sensor, rear emblem, and all that was $82.04. We have a 325 water. Not sure what it is. Again, I'm not going to sit here and Google all the part numbers, but $24.59. Let's see here. Fan clutch for $82.93. Let's see here. Some kind of bracket and a radiator clamp. I don't know. We're up to 140,754 kilometers in 2000, or 1st of June in 2000. So that's 1781. 143,991. We have a thermostat, Redline water wetter, and an upper radiator hose for $38.74. 144,216. Looks like another water hose. So, no, 2 water hoses. Paid cash, $42.51. Looks like a E30 front wheel bearing hub for $95.36. I would hope that would be installed. And we're at 146,000 kilometers. An ignition switch and a nut for $69.88. Coming up on the end of November 2001, we're at 148,723. Purchased a nut. Seems like that was probably the least expensive repair of the whole car's life right there. So at the end of 2001, we're at 1090.84. And then we get into the fun stuff. 156,000. We have a radiator and an O-ring for $194.03. We have a special ordered screw and washer. It's a 6.3 by 38. I don't know. Ooh, that might, oh, we got a new record, 2.68. Let's see here, 157,400 kilometers. A shift boot and a coolant level sensor. That's $31.25. 157,440 for a clamp and some covering. 2002 is a good year for him. He's not doing too bad at all. 157,900. We got some engine mounts with a BMW CCA discount. Always factor in those club discounts. A rotor. I don't know if that is the rotor underneath the cap or a disc brake rotor, but it was $83.50. And my guess is that it was a disc brake rotor because he also got, if we look at the mileage, 158.05, 400 and some miles later, got a caliper, something related to the calipers for $21.24. Okay, at 158,661, there was a throttle cable and a gas cap for $24.68. And that is the end of 2002. Yep, now it's September of 2002. So at the end of 2002, we're at a total of $1491.76. Not doing too bad so far. Until we get into 2003 and hit the 160,000 kilometer mark. Looks like front and or left and right wishbones, rubber mounts, and some nuts. $222.76. And he got froggy and decided to pick up some sports seats for $362. And I'm sure at that time they were in pretty nice shape. Good luck finding a $300 pair of sports seats now. And then here we go again, a couple miles. So at 162,000 kilometers, where it's timing belt time again. And looks like a grill, exhaust gaskets, exhaust manifold. Unfortunately, doesn't seem, this is just a packing slip. It doesn't seem like there's a receipt for this one. So we'll go off the first timing belt job. Well, I'm gonna have to estimate this one. So that was $225. So we're just gonna round to, we're just gonna do a $300. I'm gonna add $300 to this one for the, that seems like a reasonable brake pad sensor, brake pad set, timing belt, V belt. Might be a little low, but there we go. And of course, we got the belts. Now we need the beats. Bought some speakers, 8185. Buffer and something, 4632. And let's see here, at 168,000 kilometers, the fuel pump took and left the chat. So rebuilt fuel pump. I didn't even think you could still get those back then, but 101.34. Fuel pressure regulator, 57.9 or 70. And at 170,000 kilometers, the head gasket left the chat. And apparently the shift boot left the chat again. So it was in for another 94.58. I don't have receipts for bolts and stuff like that, so I don't know how much he spent on all the other stuff. But we have 176,201, which is exhaust bracket, hangers, bracket, looks like some exhaust work, 48.43. Transmission bracket and some other generic bracket. Oh, we're in the 04 now. So let's get the 2003 total before we add this up. So at the end of 2003, now we're at 2745.36. Now we'll add this one in for 1708. And then we decided to get value priced on some stuff here. We went and got a starter. So $89.99 for the starter plus tax. I don't see how much the tax was on here, so we'll just go with 90. And some nuts and bolts at 172,310. Well, looks like I had some receipts out of order here. Well, we'll get the right amount at the end anyway. Exhaust bracket, alternator bracket, thermostat, $29.90. Some more gaskets. Coolant hoses at 177,105. So $41.99. And then somebody bought this here for $110 at 177,500 kilometers. This is the rear sunshade, and it's the German product, and it's got these little buttons that go with it. I'm not sure what those are, but apparently these are hard to find. So we'll add $110. Presume that he installed it himself. Okay, so then we have a big break in the action from 177 to 279, almost 100,000 kilometers of trouble-free miles. And if we estimate that in date, that is, wow, look at that. 121.04 at 177.05 to 17 March 04 at 279. So that's like 60,000 miles in like 3 months. Somebody's putting some miles on this thing. And that means they got to buy expensive things. Hoses, special hoses, a core. I don't know what that item is, but it was $247.89. And then this one, bought a brand new 320 or a brand new muffler, oil filter, tailpipe extension, exhaust nuts for $234.07. Exhaust gaskets for $26.18. A lock strip kit for the E30 and a clip for the rear, $64.80. Clip. Oh, there we go. There's a cheap receipt. $129. You probably get fined by the BMW dealer if you get out of there that cheap. Let's see here. Cam belt, cam O-ring, cam seal, gallon of coolant. We're at 288,000 kilometers. Oh, and some. Apparently he needed a cam, so he got a free cam. $38.50. That's a screaming deal. Looks like needed some more bolts and washers at $293,700. $22.88 worth of nuts and bolts. Somebody needed a faceplate for the radio at $290. $29.25. Brake pad time at 285,000 kilometers. So we're up to August of 2004 now. 5237. Bolts and nuts. I don't have a mileage on here, but it's July 28th of 2004 for $35.47. Okay, then we got another big one here. Tires. Kumho 711, $51 each. Let's see here. Kept the old tires. That's using the old stems. So $251.43 for tires. Definitely can't find that deal anymore. And something from overseas. I think this was a instrument cluster for $9.85. $20.69 plus $30 shipping. So we're at $59 there. And that is the stack of receipts. So I'm sorry about some of these being out of order. I definitely could have done a little bit better job of putting all of these in order. But there we go. That is like 5 years of history of the Euro E30. What do you think it cost? If you were keeping track at home, you already know. The grand total of maintenance spent on that on the E30 over about 5 years, $4,106.68. Honestly, for a car that was 15 years old at the time, 15 to 20 years old, that's really not that bad. Like $4,000 in parts and maintenance for let's see here. We started out at 124,000 kilometers and ended up with the last receipt that I have at 288,000 kilometers. So that's 160K, which It was probably close to 100,000 miles. $4,100 higher or lower than you thought. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little bit of history lesson on the E30. I certainly appreciate the previous owner keeping this stuff and then sending it to me after I picked up the car from him. A lot of the things on this list I've already had to go through. Timing belt, coil, tires, brakes, all that stuff. I've already had to go through a lot of this stuff all over again. We're at the 330,000 kilometer mark. It is fun to look back on this stuff and see all the things that were done to it over the years and get a little history lesson. Thank you guys for watching. Click like, subscribe, you know all that. And if we get to 10,000 subscribers soon, I've got a surprise with the F-136 engine. I have a plan, and may not be the plan we've talked about in the past, but it's a plan. So hopefully that's coming soon. Until next time, get out there and work on something.